Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday, the 28th day of April 2022. I hope that this video finds you and your family safe and healthy today. And I hope that the needs of you and your family in terms of food and shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met this morning. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field and the first responders who are out here every day all over the country trying to save lives. And those that pick up garbage to keep streets and sidewalks and parks clean. And those also that make deliveries for our convenience. And double blessings upon the men and women who are trying their best to help rescue, deliver, and save and recover the victims of child molestation and pedophilia, and the victims of pornography and child pornography, the victims of prostitution and child prostitution, the victims also of human trafficking and sex slavery, and double curses upon the perpetrators, the perverts and the profiteers who are trafficking in human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless, nearly 600,000 men, women, and children in the United States, and millions of people around the world. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. You know, there is a player that I had thought about early in the process, actually, probably around the All-Star break. And I never did a video on him, but he's always been high on my list. And that'll be Benedict Mathurin from University of Arizona. Now, the benefit of doing a video on him then versus now is this tournament has already concluded. And so we've gotten even a better look at him. Now, I want to say that after looking at all of these players and the Knicks being in the 11th position to draft, and I'm going to be conservative. Now, everyone's hoping that we get into the top four, and people do that every year. But, okay, likelihood is the Knicks are going to stay at the 11th spot. Now, if we move up, great. You know, they have a 9.4% chance, the Knicks do, of going into the top four. And they have a 2% chance of getting the number one overall pick. Those are not great odds. Anything could happen. I mean, there's 2% and there's 9%. So anything could happen. But I like to look at it as it is. And what it is right now is the Knicks are in the 11th pick. And at that position, in the 11th pick, there are players, really good players that we can get. One of them is Mathurin, who we're going to talk about in a second. But he's not, right now, if I had to pick at the 11th spot for the New York Knicks, I'm picking Jeremy Sochan. I'm picking Sochan. Sochan's my guy this year. He's my Deuce this year. He's my Grimes this year. I'm looking at Sochan because 6'9", 230 pounds, defensively already NBA level. Already NBA level on the defensive end. At age 18, going on 19, I'm not worried about him offensively as much. I really do feel he has the talent to eventually develop offensively. But I want him because of his defensive prowess. He can already guard 1 through 5. He's not on any level a good shooter right now. So but I want him because of his defensive prowess, his youth at the same time. If you're going to go for a project or any kid that's coming out as 18, 19 is somewhat of a project at least. At least you want something elite that can already be used on the NBA level. And to me, the most important thing, I know people think about shooting, and that's really important, but the most important thing is defense. So Jeremy Sochan, I feel like if we got him, even in the summer league, even in the training camp, he's going to show defensively that he belongs. And at 6'9", with a 7-foot wingspan, he could make an impact defensively from day one. And so, even in Tom Thibodeau's, vet crazy system. So, I pick him. He's the guy Raw Hebrew would pick if I was at 11. And if I could trade down, because he's in the 14, 13, 15 range in most mock drafts. If he was still there, at 14 or so, I'd see if I can add a second round pick or something and still get him, because I'd like him. But at the same time, um, a lot of these guys' draft positions are going to change based on the workouts that they do. But that brings me to Benedict Mathurin. Now, Mathurin, I liked him at 6'7", 195. He's prototypical at a two-guard position. Tall, rangy, has a really nice jump shot from range. He could really shoot the three nicely, well beyond the college distance. Big game player, as we see right now from the tournament. Big game NBA player. But again, he's very young. He's 20. He's going to be 20 years old when the draft comes. He's 19. He's going to be 20. He's going to need some patience. And that's, again, we have a coach that is not patient. And you combine a coach that's not patient with a fan base that's not patient. And it's very difficult for any rookie to break in New York. Very difficult. I mean, look, we have R.J. Barrett was the 3rd overall pick. And in his rookie year, from his rookie year to now, every year, there's been people on large platforms calling for him to be traded. Okay? From his rookie year at age 19. All right. So it's very difficult. In New York, there's very little patience at all for anyone. And that's a self-defeating situation, because you can get a promising player, but if you don't have the patience, or if the guy's not built to be having all this criticism at age 19 or 20, which is very possible, you wouldn't be surprised at that with most kids, it's difficult to make it here. Then you combine that with a Tom Thibodeau who really despises rookies, period. Okay. So that would hold back a Mathurin. But on the flip side, the talent is immense. To me, this kid is a bigger version of Cam Thomas, who a lot of y'all loved last year. But the only thing is, I see more defensive potential. He's not an NBA level defender right now. And his decision making is sometimes suspect, as you would expect from a 19-year-old. But physically, athletically, overall, he definitely is going to become a player. He's going to be good. I like him in 2 or 3 seasons. He's going to be really good, Benedict Mathurin, in the NBA. And so, athletic, like I mentioned, offensively, very skilled, has all the tools that you want to see in a 2-guard on the NBA level. Like I said, his defense is somewhat suspect, but it's not horrible. It's just that he's 19 and he needs to learn to make decisions, and he needs to learn to give consistent effort on both ends of the ball, which is, again, that's not unusual for a 19-year-old kid in coming out of a college game. But again, he played at Arizona, one of the top programs, always perennially top programs in the country. And not only that, they played the top. It wasn't the reason they're the top program. They played the top schedule, So he played against tough competition, and he showed himself out, when he was in the tournament. So, they have, in the mock drafts, they have him much higher. And I know it's because of his potential, and I know some team, somebody's going to take him. They got here in Tankathon, they got him at 8. When I first started looking at him, he was in the end of the lottery, more toward the end of the lottery. But now he's moved up since his performance in the NCAA tournament. So has Tari Eason also. Some players have dropped, and then suddenly Shaden Sharp, because he's announced he's going to come out, he's in the top 10 as well. So I think we have, unless we move up, we're probably not going to get Benedict Mathurin. But like I said, I think Sochan is our guy. I really think Sochan is our guy. I like Dyson Daniels, but if we get Jalen Brunson and we have Deuce McBride and we still have Emmanuel Quickly, where is Daniels going to play? Okay. And then you're still talking about Derrick Rose unless they trade him. So, and then, Tom Thibodeau. Now, Daniels is not your typical rookie because he played in the G League the whole year last year. But This is still Tom Thibodeau we're dealing with. And by the way, I just want y'all to understand, if you haven't heard, Thibodeau's guaranteed to be back next year. So if you haven't heard that, there's no need to speculate whether he's going to be back. He's here. So let's just take it from there. Okay. He's not maybe coming back. He's coming back. All right. So with him, you got to take that into consideration when you're dealing with, and I know some of y'all going to be whining, fire Tibbs. We got to get rid of him. Whine all you want. I don't like whining when there's nothing you can change. Let's deal with what we got. Okay. He's here. Okay. So you got to you got to take that into consideration when you're looking at your draft picks. All right. So, a Mathurin, is probably at the higher end of what we're looking at realistically. We're not going to be, if we're in the top 5, that's a whole different thing. And the good thing about it is, in 19 days on May 17th, we're going to find out exactly where we're picking. All right. So then we'll make a more accurate assessment of what the Knicks can get at that spot, whatever spot they're in. But right now, at 11, to me, it's Sochan. It's Sochan. Sochan's our guy because of the defensive chops that he brings to the table. He can develop offensively, but Sochan's our guy to me. Mathurin is tremendous, and I got him ranked ahead of Sochan. I see how they got him at the 8th spot. If we're at the 8th spot, I would love to get Mathurin. But at the 11th spot, I believe Mathurin's not going to be there. Keegan Murray obviously is not going to be there. Chet Holmgren, who I don't really want. Obviously he's going to be drafted in the top 5 though. And then you got Ivy, Banchero, Smith. These guys are not going to be there. Let's be real. They're not going to be there. All right. So let's see on May 17th if all of a sudden the ping pong balls work in the Knicks' favor and we end up higher than we're projected to be. But based on my experience, maybe this is the battered wife syndrome. I don't know, but I'm just saying we're probably going to draft 11th. And if we're drafting 11th, I like Sochan. I like Sochan for us. I think he's going to be good for us because I'm expecting a Randall trade. I will be shocked if Randall is still on this team come training camp. I will be shocked. Okay. And I think I wouldn't be the only one, but there really are at 11, 2 guys to me that we really, should be targeting. One of them is Sochan and the other one is Agbaji. Ochai Agbaji, because Agbaji is a perimeter defender on an elite level right now. That's what he brings to the table. Now, everybody remembers how he shot the lights out in the NC2A tournament, and he did. But to me, his calling card, if he's going to get on the floor with Tom Thibodeau, it's that defense, and he can play the perimeter defense really well. So, like I said, I like Sochan though. I like Sochan a lot. Age of 19, really still 18. And then coming under Tom Thibodeau with a 6'9" height, 7-foot wingspan, guards 1 through 5. I could see him coming in behind Obi, in his rookie year. I can see him in the rotation in his rookie year. That it's like saying, you're not going to play Dennis Rodman. And when Dennis Rodman first came to the Detroit Pistons, he was like that. He was like a backup guy, but his defense and his rebounding, his hustle and his IQ were on levels that caused Chuck Daly to have to play him more, right? I see that with Sochan. I see that with him. So, so that's where we're at. Mathurin is at 8 and he should be up there. If we get to move up into that range, I like him. But if we stay in the 11 range, I'm really talking about Jeremy Sochan and Agbaji. Now, I like EJ Liddell as well. But that's just me. I'm not sure how Tibbs would feel about him. I think he might be a Tibbs dude because he's rough and tumble. He's Charles Oakley to me. Liddell is Charles Oakley to me. But, and if he can consistently, like this year, like Liddell is 21, so he's a more mature player. Knicks kind of like those type of guys. But, he shot 37% from 3 this year. So that's the big thing about him. If he can continue to shoot that well, from 3 and bring the lunch pail mentality, I like him. But I'd rather have Sochan and Agbaji. Those two cats, man. The defense that they bring, it's going to be good. It'll add to us. Again, my focus is defense because we lost focus on defense this past season. And we started getting in a mess. First thing, you got to stick with who you are foundationally. And the Knicks with Tom Thibodeau is a defense first team foundationally. Trying to get to become shooters and try to get to become 3-point bombers goes away from what you are, And so I want us to refocus. I'd like to see the Knicks refocus on what they are, a defensive first team, and then let the offense flow out of that. 2 years, the season before this past one with Elfrid Payton. Elfrid Payton, first of all, let's go back. We know Tom Thibodeau is not the most imaginative offensive mind. I think I can say that pretty confidently. He's not the most imaginative offensive mind in the NBA as a head coach. He doesn't like to listen to people that may know better offensive schemes than him. Right? So what does that mean? Well, it means that you have to rely on people that have offensive talent, and you have to create spacing. Now, Tom, in all of his faults, understands spacing. Okay, you're not going to have a lot of it with Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett, combining that with Mitchell Robinson. You're not going to have a lot of spacing. So, like I said, I really believe they're going to move Randle for a variety of reasons, which we've been through ad nauseum. And so, therefore, with Obi, even with Mitch and Obi and RJ, you're going to have a lot better spacing, and then if you start Emmanuel quickly, you're going to have a lot better spacing, this year than you had in the previous two. So, that's going to open a lot of things up for players that has some offensive ability. And so, yeah, that's why Agbaji has some, so we'll see what happens. But, anyway, I like Sochan. I hope if we're still at 11, we get Sochan, and I'll be happy with that. And then we'll move forward from there. Or, unless they're going to trade the pick, and that's a whole different story. If they go to trade the pick, then all bets are off, right? Because it doesn't even matter at that point. It's about what we're trading, what we're getting back. Okay, we're trading the pick, but we'll see about that. That's what I'm saying. This year, anything's possible. This is going to be a big summer, but certain things we've already discussed. You got to re-sign Mitch. You got to trade Julius Randle. You got to re-sign RJ Barrett and build the offense around him. You got to, you got to pick your point guard. Find out who your point guard is. These are things that the Knicks have to do. This is a big summer to see if they're going to do that. And yeah, it's what it is, y'all. So here's where we at now. Like I said, the next big date is May 17th when we find out officially where the Knicks are picking. And then after that, once we officially find out where they're picking, we can really nail down who they're going to pick. All right. Anyway, y'all enjoy your Thursday. I hope you had a good week this week. We are getting together Sunday at P.O.P.O. It's a different location. The restaurant is a different location than the one we did this past Sunday. We was in a location this past Sunday that was apparently near a tourist area. I didn't know that. So it was packed. But I have already gotten reservations for 12 noon on this coming Sunday. Where is this place at? It's P.O.P.O., but it's not in the same place the other one is. I'll tell you right now. And if you're interested, I'll have my email address in the description box, and you'll be able to ask me, and I'll get you the address. I did send out a lot of people already, but if you're interested in coming, just let me know. I'm having trouble pulling up my email here. Anyway, I'm having trouble pulling up the email. Sorry about that right now. Yeah, I'm having trouble pulling up the email. Sorry about that. But I'll put my email address in the description box, and you'll see that. And if you want to hang out with us on Sunday, it's going to be good. So we had a really good time last Sunday. This time we're going at 12, so I can spend more time there. This last time I had to do some things, but this time coming at 12, we're going to spend some more time. If you're coming, if the reservation is for, there it is. The reservation is for, it's at 2259 South Somoran Boulevard in Orlando, Florida. 2259 South Somoran Boulevard, Orlando, Florida. So Uh, we have the reservations for 12:15, but try to get there at 12 because I found out they don't seat you until you get at least a few or half your people there. And so get there at 12 so that we can get seated early, right? Anyway, y'all have a tremendous Thursday. Enjoy it. If I don't talk to you, have a good weekend. Shalom.